Welcome to our module on media literacy. We will divide this module in two lessons. The first one will be about digital literacy and ethical dilemmas, and the second one about mentoring as an innovative resource for ethical dilemmas resolution. So let's start with the first lesson, media literacy. The main objectives of this lesson are: provide key information about digital literacy, present practical examples of ethics in digital environments, understand ethical dilemmas that may arise from using digital resources, have a deeper understanding of ethical issues in business and how to handle them, and promote a critical thinking about the digital environments. As we all know, the ongoing changes in our social, economic, and political realms caused by digital transformation bring together the need for ongoing analysis and discussion over the implications of technology in people's lives. For the last decades, this digitalization has made terms such as digital literacy, media literacy, and digital education relevant and present in the agenda of international organizations, government bodies, and non-government institutions. In this module, we will bring the definition of digital literacy, present a list of digital competencies that are becoming increasingly relevant in today's digitalization context, present examples of both positive and negative ethical practices that may occur in digital spaces, talk about the implications of digital tools in business, as well as ethical dilemmas that exist or may exist in the future, and propose a joint reflection on how to create a positive and beneficial digital environment through critical thinking and concrete actions. There is an emergent movement that acknowledges digital literacies based on the assumptions that multiple accounts of digital literacy exist, that social-cultural contexts matter, and that this wide and plural perspective is beneficial to educational learning. However, concepts around digital literacy are not consensual, and there are debates on whether the term should be defined as a limited and functional set of skills or a broader frame of competencies, for example. UNESCO defines digital literacy as the ability to access, manage, understand, integrate, communicate, evaluate, and create information safely and appropriately through digital technologies. The term is connected to the promotion of active participation and engagement as a citizen in society in the digital universe and relates to competencies of information literacy and media literacy, computer and information and communication technology. Digital literacy is a 21st century skill that requires lifelong learning and the use of social, cognitive, and technical skills. Given the massive production and dissemination of information and media content that take place through different channels, for example, to be digitally literate means more than knowing how to use the digital devices. Instead, it is closely related to knowing how to determine information accuracy and to have a critical approach to how to behave in digital environments. Meaning that literacy in the 21st century is about constructing and validating knowledge. Now let's talk about the role of digital literacy in education. Digital technologies appear as a fundamental and advantageous ally since they have the potential to provide personalized learning, which allows students to progress according to their own needs, interests, and rhythm. To take learning everywhere, to save time and money, to decrease behavior issues, and to be environmentally friendly. Authors and scholars from the learning sciences, game studies, and popular culture point out that young people from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds are interacting with each other in informal online and offline peer learning groups. Engaging in digital literacy practices is perceived as potentially beneficial to young people. However, we should consider and think about the negative outcomes resulting from the youth participation in digital environments. Access. There is an inequality between economically disadvantaged young people and people from wealthier communities regarding digital literacy. Online spaces and social media platforms can be particularly dangerous to young people, as they may interact with strangers or even with other youngsters with bad intentions. Since the internet guarantees for you to be anonymous, allowing users to hide behind profiles and making it difficult for perpetrators to be held accountable for their actions. Lack of supervision. Cyberbullying, hacking, and online harassment are becoming more common. especially considering that young participation in media platforms occur in and supervised context. Online gaming, another popular trend between youngsters, as it enables social interaction and makes it easy for them to start virtual friendships. Unfortunately, these platforms also create a range of possible threats: fraudulent practices such as phishing, uncomfortable situations as players insulting each other, and even password stealing. For this, we must highlight that providing digital equipment and applications to young people does not guarantee a beneficial use of technology, and adult mentoring and strong learning systems need to exist, enable and empower people to use digital technologies in their full capacities. As previously mentioned, it is not easy to find a consensual definition of digital literacy. This challenge also exists when it comes to agreeing on what specific competencies people should have to be considered digitally literate. These competencies are not static, as digital systems and tools keep on changing. However, there are common digital abilities associated with practical skills that are commonly presented in frameworks on the subject. Information literacy is a fundamental digital competence, especially considering the increasing amount of fake news and biased data that come to us. Knowing how to use devices and being aware of basic terms, meaning locating and installing apps, as well as keeping them updated, and having the ability to perform online searches and to navigate in digital platforms, while paying attention to information relevance and reliability, are some examples of the main skills. Communication. Technology advances have transformed the way that people interact with each other. The most highly valued skills are related to choosing the adequate mean of information according to a specific context, engage in civic activities online, such as organizing a community event on Facebook and proposing different digital collaborative tools to promote content co-creation. Digital content creation. It is a fundamental competence for the 21st century, and it is particularly useful for social media marketing. Digital tools enable a more flexible and tailored process of creation in which a set of skills may help you. Learning about your audience so you can adapt your content and its formats, knowing how to use mobile devices and their features to make content, and understanding copyrights and licenses application in the creation processes, for example. Safety and security. Digital threats and cybercrime are two growing phenomena that affect citizens both online and offline. Moreover, skills such as identifying risks and developing protection strategies are essential. Problem-solving competencies. Nowadays, skills such as diagnosing and developing strategies to provide solutions to technical difficulties, being aware of how to use the internet to make safe financial transactions, and even having the ability to acknowledge struggles other people may have in digital spaces and being able to support them are perceived as necessary abilities when developing digital literacy. It is still very important to highlight that digital skills and the levels of proficiency that are understood as important vary according to each country and the scenario of its economic sector. Stakeholders who intend to develop a path toward digital literacy must know and adapt the methodologies and contents of learning. Society is becoming more and more dependent on digital communication channels. Moreover, the way we interact in online spaces has been increasingly influenced by the way we think and behave in the offline context, and vice versa. In this sense, as digital citizens, we must adopt an ethical and empathetic behavior, stay sensitive to other people's perspectives, respect different opinions, not engage in harmful discussions, and present a positive and coherent e-presence. Digital ethics is the branch of ethics that focus on understanding the moral and practical implications of technological advance in the different sectors of people's realities. A few decades ago, discuss about computer ethics was discussing about the moral responsibility of the IT professionals. However, with decentralization and unprecedented levels of access to digital tools, there has been a considerable increase in the number of actors involved in this discussion. And it must be highlighted that each one of them has responsibilities with regard to ensuring a healthy and positive digital environment. Next, we will talk about some examples of practices that can help guide technology and users in assuring a moral code of respectful and transparent behavior. Young people should be aware of what they can do as digital tools users to not be vulnerable. Don't share personal information such as your home address, bank account, and passwords, as this can lead to some dangerous situations. Be aware that what you post on social media, photos and videos on Instagram, for example, may continue online even after you remove it from there. Be careful of who you meet online and don't engage in conversations that make you feel uncomfortable. Check your privacy settings and make sure you can choose what information and with whom you share it. The employment sector has also been particularly impacted by digital transformation, since nowadays the boundaries of social and professional lives are blurred. E-professionalism includes the attitudes, behaviors, and the way people engage in digital settings regarding their occupation. There are some examples of good practices that professionals should have in mind to ensure an ethical digital environment. Know your online audience to adapt the way you communicate with different groups. There is a great difference on how you ideally behave on TikTok and on LinkedIn, for example. Select the information you share on social digital platforms to ensure you are leveraging each space for its intended purpose. Be aware not to overshare information about yourself or about other people online. For example, if you are working in a school, do not take or post photos or videos of students on social media, especially without their parents' consent. Try to keep in mind the difference from what is personal and professional. This is even more important for professionals engaging in sensitive tasks. For example, community workers that must keep relationship boundaries in relation to service users. Digitalization has made life easier for people in different aspects. Habits such as online job seeking, using e-learning platforms, or communicating with family and friends through social media, such as Instagram, WhatsApp, are considered as natural as grocery shopping or driving a car. Unfortunately, along with the advantages of using digital tools, a set of complex concerns emerged. Unequal access. If in one hand technology enables social interactions and promotes new applications to facilitate our tasks, it also creates new ways of inequality and exclusion. In practice, this can be a challenge for young people who are less familiar with digital platforms in job search processes and for those who are unable to receive school resources given their limited access to the internet, for example. Privacy. During the last few years, and especially since 2020, with the COVID-19 pandemic and the increased need to use digital tools such as Zoom, complaints about digital surveillance promoted by technology companies have become more common. Currently, it is general knowledge that the use of data and information from individuals to influence the political sphere, foster product consumptions, or predict financial decisions by understanding patterns is a strategy that is being applied around the globe. Because of this general dependence on digital technologies, the lack of privacy and safety also affects companies from different sectors, NGOs, and other government agencies that handle citizens' personal data on a daily basis. Fake news. As young people are presented with photos, videos, advertisements, and propaganda in social media on a daily basis, the ability to distinguish between accurate and trustworthy information from made-up ones becomes a powerful tool to tackle an emerging digital threat: fake news dissemination. These false narratives are often linked to manipulation and may be a harmful tool when it comes to influencing other people. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has a direct impact on social interactions, politics, economics, and communication. It refers to a machine-based system that can, given a set of human-defined objectives, make predictions, recommendations, or decisions that influence real or virtual environments. Artificial intelligence plays a vital role in today's discussion on digital competence, given the possibilities it brings to society, such as early diagnosis in healthcare. On the other hand, we must be aware that despite having some degrees of autonomy, this technology is pre-configured and controlled by people, which means that artificial intelligence is not free from bias and sometimes produces stereotypes. Identity. Young people are particularly affected by these new ethical dilemmas, identity being one of them. Offline, young people experience and discover their identities by changing their styles, playing sports, and engaging in school activities, for example. Even though this configuration has advantages, like the possibility to receive face-to-face feedback from people they know, there are some space, time, and cultural constraints related to it. On the other hand, digital environments allow users to experience self-identity in whole new ways, such as creating alternative or fake identities under made-up names, ages, and so on. Participation. Digitalization also creates the emergence of new ways of youth participation in society that goes beyond traditional ones. Moreover, through online participation, youngsters are presented with the power to not only act as product consumers, but also as active content creators. Digital media platforms allow you to produce and disseminate ideas and to easily engage in civic causes. However, in addition to not being accessible to everyone, some youngsters may perceive these digital spaces as unfamiliar and even scary, which makes it necessary adequate help and guidance to navigate in digital spaces. Sustainability. Digitalization provides useful tools to fight climate change and environmental problems and to enable green practices to make our daily tasks easier. At the same time, it has negative implications to our relationship with the planet, like pollution caused by manufacturing of digital devices and the production of toxic materials. Digital advancements create new possibilities for society every day, and that includes business. In this regard, the so-called Internet of Things, a range of physical devices that are connected to digital systems and can store and exchange data with other equipment, is a promising tech strategy to enhance companies' productivity, and that is also at the core of ethical discussions. In one side, Internet of Things wearables, for example, wristbands and microchips, have the power to guarantee employees' health by making them aware of the need for physical exercise and safety in the high-risk settings by facilitating rapid responses to adverse situations, for instance. However, the increasing use of these devices brings together a dilemma regarding people's privacy, given that the Internet of Things wearable often allow intrusive manners of worker surveillance. Artificial intelligence presents a particular range of new opportunities for the business sector. The positive aspects: personalization of the customer experience, customized suggestions and recommendations, creation of user profiles, human-like interactions in e-commerce. When it comes to negative aspects, we have the issue of replacing people, limitations to perform tasks, and lack of specific abilities such as emotional intelligence or adaptability to social interactions. Technology has also changed employer-employee relationships, especially since COVID-19 pandemic and the consequent adoption of remote work. We highlight that while this configuration allows people to work from anywhere they want or need to, it has also produced new concerns. For example, it allows companies to monitor workers in their homes, which reduces people's work autonomy and also creates barriers to ensure personal privacy. Moreover, technology per se is not necessarily good or bad. What influences the actual outcome digital tools may have in the way we decide to use them and for what purposes. Specific legislation and adapted frameworks for the business sector may be helpful strategies to guarantee ethical digital environments. Additionally, adopting a critical attitude as consumers is a crucial step to achieve a fair and transparent relation with companies. Critical thinking allows us to analyze the information that comes to us and differentiate what is credible and relevant or not, decide on how we should behave on social media and even choose about the time we spend in virtual environments, prevent us from manipulation. This becomes particularly relevant given the constant attempt carried out by business to influence us, our needs and preferences as product consumers. In practice, critical thinking makes us active subjects with the ability to exercise greater control over our experiences in digital environments. In this sense, it is necessary to warn young people not to trust and believe in every information that they find online and encourage them to develop questioning attitude. Now, let's talk about new technologies, critical thinking, and education. New technologies can be powerful allies in stimulating and developing critical thinking. Researchers show that online discussion enables students to share their ideas in an open environment and to engage in active conversations with their peers, as well as cooperative learning, virtual learning environments. Online systems that allow multi-user interaction can help social integration and facilitate access to resources for students that are outside the school, and social networks, online communities that provide a common environment for youngsters to share interests and opinions and to develop professional competencies are useful strategies in this process. The use of technology in the classroom, however, must happen adequately and at specific times, since when it happens indiscriminately, it can be counterproductive. As a conclusion from this lesson, we can say that digital literacy is a complex concept that includes a range of social and technological changes that impact us in a positive ways, giving the upcoming of new possibilities, but also in a negative ways that are related to ethical dilemmas that change society. In this lesson, we presented a list of different digital competencies and skills that are perceived as fundamental ones to adequately handle and benefit from these new digital tools. Also, we introduced some examples of those ethical dilemmas in order to understand the implications of each one in our lives. Finally, we argue that developing critical thinking is a necessary strategy to mitigate the negative outcomes of digitalization.